Why would I want to arrest you?
Well, I don't want you to arrest me, but
I don't want to arrest you and take you to custody. I am going to arrest you for failing to provide a valid ticket to travel.
Welcome to the Audit Lab, where police power meets public accountability.
This episode is brought to us by Auditor Alex Lennon. Be sure to check the link below and subscribe to his channel, and give him the credit he deserves. In this episode, Auditor Alex Lennon faces one of the most ridiculous arrests you'll ever see. After rushing for his train, Alex is stopped by Merseyrail staff for not showing a printed ticket, even though he had already purchased it online. What should have been a straightforward civil misunderstanding quickly spirals into chaos when British Transport Police arrive and completely lose the plot. Instead of applying basic common sense, one officer chooses to escalate.
But I paid the money.
You haven't. You can refund
I have paid the money.
You're not listening. You're shutting your mind. You're not open-minded.
So
you're just tunnel vision
what are you,
on your opinion.
What are you trying to tell me?
We'll let the police come, the British
We'll let
Transport
the British Transport Police
We'll
come?
get your details.
Well, they will arrest. No, they will arrest me.
They'll get your details.
They will arrest me.
But you're not going to give them your details.
If they arrest me, then I will give them my details. I'm being denied exit from the station.
Right, have you purchased a ticket
Yes.
where you boarded the train?
I purchased the ticket and I can show evidence of that.
Right, have you printed that ticket
I wasn't
off?
able to get it printed now.
Right, is there a reason why you were unable to get it printed
I was running
off?
for the train. I have to be in a really important meeting in Reading, and I had to run to get the train because it was going to cause me enormous problems if I didn't get that train and was delayed for that really important meeting in Reading.
Right.
And I thought, quite reasonably, that I'd paid for a ticket.
Yeah.
I can prove I paid for a ticket. I can prove I've got the code for the ticket. And I literally, as I've said to these people, all I need to do is to go there to get that ticket and to show these people the ticket that I have purchased and paid for.
Right from the start, this should have been resolved within seconds. Alex clearly explains that he has already paid for his ticket. He simply did not have time to print it because he was rushing. He has the proof on his phone, the booking code, and is even standing next to a ticket machine where he could print it instantly. That is not fair evasion. That is simply common sense in action. What makes this worse is that Alex is doing everything right. He is transparent, cooperative, and actively offering to prove payment on the spot. Any reasonable officer or rail staff member would have checked his booking, confirmed it, and allowed him to continue his journey. Instead, what should have been a quick 30-second check turns into a completely unnecessary escalation.
I understand their reasoning. All I'm saying is I paid for a ticket, so my belief is that in law I can show I've had no intent to defraud anybody.
Yeah.
I haven't travelled this network trying to travel without a ticket, and I can evidence that. And so I did not intend to give these people my personal details. I don't believe they're empowered to take them, and I'm not going to give them to you. Should you, of course, arrest me, I will, of course, give you my personal details, and I will abide by the empowerment that you have. But I think, frankly, I can travel the country, I can go to Reading, I can go to Manchester, I can go all over the place, get a ticket, I can tap my phone on devices. It's only here in Liverpool that we seem to have this archaic system with these people who cause these problems for people who are just trying to pay for tickets and go about their daily business, minding their own business, which is all I'm trying to do.
Right, okay. Obviously, when you do purchase your ticket on the train line, you do have to tick to the terms and conditions that you have to print it off.
I don't know. Nobody ever reads that stuff.
As you say, on this network here for Merseyrail, they do require you to have the said ticket printed off, ready for inspection at the gate or at the barriers.
The officer attempts to justify the situation by referring to Merseyrail's terms and conditions, claiming that Alex agreed to print his ticket when he ticked the box online. However, Alex is correct. Hardly anyone reads every line of that fine print, and Merseyrail's own website makes it clear that only certain tickets purchased through third parties must be printed before travel. If Alex bought his ticket directly and can provide proof of payment, that justification quickly falls apart. What the officer completely overlooks is intent. Alex is not refusing to pay or attempting to evade a fare. He is standing right next to a ticket machine, offering to print the ticket in front of them. That demonstrates a clear willingness to comply, not to deceive. This situation is no longer about a missing ticket, It is about common sense being replaced with rigid, unquestioned rule enforcement.
All I would say is that, anybody can have a policy. Anybody can make a rule. Yeah? Doesn't mean it's a criminal offence, doesn't mean it's a civil offence. I don't believe I've committed an offence. I mean, they may think I've broken their procedures and policies, that's fine. I don't believe I've committed any offence because I've paid money for a ticket to travel and I can prove that.
Yeah,
so where is my offence?
No, but you have got your ticket, but you've not printed the said ticket off.
Where's my civil or criminal offence?
But you should have printed it off before you travelled.
You could say you've got to stand on... Sorry to interrupt.
No, it does say, obviously, on the train stations and on the trains, that you have to have your ticket ready to present to these guys. And if you have it on the phone, which is the actual ticket, yours isn't the actual ticket. Yours is proof to say you've purchased a ticket, but you've not yet you've not yet printed that said ticket off.
I see what you're saying. My point is that what's happened, you could have a rule on the terms and conditions on Merseyrail saying everybody on the train has to stand on one leg, and everybody would have to stand on one leg. And you could threaten people if they didn't stand on one leg.
Alex makes a decisive point here. He is not breaking the law, he is, at most, breaching a rule, and those are two very different things. The law requires that a passenger pays their fare before traveling, which he has clearly done. He has proof of purchase, the booking code, and the ability to print the ticket on the spot. What Merseyrail are attempting to enforce is not criminal law, it is a company policy, and failing to comply with a business rule is not grounds for arrest. When Alex simplifies the argument with his one-line analogy about standing on one leg, it perfectly highlights the absurdity of the situation. A company can create whatever rules it wishes, but that does not grant it, or the police, the authority to treat those rules as law. This moment clearly illustrates the contrast between someone applying logic and reason, and officers rigidly enforcing what amounts to corporate policy without proper justification.
It's not breaking the law if people don't do it. They're breaking your rules. And that's the difference I'm trying to get across to you.
This is fair bylaws, that it is a ticket period, which we do have to have a said ticket to come onto the station, and for as soon as you board the train, you should have a ticket of travel, unless your train station is closed and then you've taken a picture to say it's closed. Come to these guys and they will sell you a ticket.
It's often closed, it's often nobody there, and then it would be fine.
You've purchased your ticket already, but unfortunately, because you haven't printed it off, you should have printed it off before you travelled.
So my point to you again is, I've looked at the bylaws, and I may be wrong, but I've read the bylaws, and my understanding of the bylaws is that they say, if you break these bylaws, you may be taken to court. And if you're taken to court, and it can be shown that there's an intent to defraud, you may be prosecuted. Now, I can show there was no intent to defraud. So if we go to court, it's all going to be very annoying for me, very embarrassing for Merseyrail, but I can show there was no intent to defraud. So I don't believe that I'm in any kind of, situation where I've broken these bylaws.
Alex handles this exchange exceptionally well, and it highlights how little the officer actually understands the relevant bylaw. What Alex is referring to is Bylaw 18 of the Railway Bylaws 2005, which deals with ticketless travel in a non-compulsory ticket area. The crucial wording within that bylaw is with intent to avoid payment. That means there must be a deliberate attempt to evade the fare, not a simple mistake, not confusion, and certainly not a situation involving someone who can clearly demonstrate that payment has already been made. There is absolutely no intent to defraud in this case. Without intent, there is no criminal element. Railway bylaws are designed to address individuals who are deliberately attempting to avoid paying fares, not honest commuters who have already paid and are able to prove it.
So the train line tickets, as you said rightly, you have to print out the tickets. If it's not printed out, it's not valid to travel on the train.
I know this is what the lady said to me.
It's not valid on the train.
And what I'm saying is that
can I just explain to you?
Yes.
What happened is sometimes people buy train line tickets. They don't print it. They do the journey. They complete the journey. What happens is they get refunded.
Well, that would be terrible.
They got refunded.
That would be terrible.
Okay, so some people does that. Okay, I'm not saying you do.
No.
Your intention to do that.
Specifically,
on these occasions.
I asked these people to let me go just over there just over there,
Okay.
to print the ticket, and they would see I printed the
Right,
ticket,
okay.
and they
So
would know that it had been
their
paid.
understanding would be
So
if
it's not
they
a problem.
went here, you would have done the journey,
Well,
and you got the refunded as well from
But
the
of
train
course
line,
they're always
which
here. I
some
mean,
people does that.
This PCSO's reasoning is fundamentally flawed, and it demonstrates how quickly lazy assumptions can escalate into false accusations. He is effectively suggesting, you might have acted dishonestly if we had not been here, which is not how the law operates. That is not policing, it is speculation. You cannot accuse someone of potential fraud based on what they might have done in a hypothetical situation. Alex explicitly offered to print his ticket on the spot, standing right next to the machine, which clearly demonstrates that he had already paid, and had no intention of exploiting the system. What makes this even more concerning is that the PCSO's argument undermines itself. If Alex had genuinely been attempting to cheat the system, the last thing he would have done is remain in front of officers while insisting on printing clear proof of payment.
Please get involved.
As
Then it's
indeed
the
has
criminal
happened.
matter,
Yes.
where it's dealt as a ticket fraud.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to do. Because I'm not giving these people my details. Because I've paid for a
So
ticket.
this is what's happening now.
There
So I hope you
cannot be
understand.
ticket fraud.
Okay.
Because I've paid for the ticket.
That's a valid ticket,
there's
sir.
no intention to defraud in law.
Well, we don't know because.
Well, I can prove it. I mean, I can show you the receipt and I can get it printed. There's no intention
as
to
I say,
defraud.
it's not valid.
Okay, well, if we have...
Informed, reliably informed, that's not a valid ticket. It's
Okay.
a reference number for a ticket.
Well, I've had all
that
three of you
you
inform me that.
purchased. You should have
Yeah.
printed your ticket
So-
off before you travel.
So, can I just go and print the ticket off?
No, you should have done it before you travel.
Oh, I see. So-
you can't travel without
So
a
you're
valid
going to take me to court because you won't let me print the ticket.
Maybe
Okay, well, let's do it then. What do we do next?
Obviously, you need to provide your details to these people
I'm not going
here.
to.
Can I just is there a reason why you don't want
Yeah, because
to?
I don't believe they're empowered to take them, and I don't believe I have to give them to
They
them.
do have the power to take your details.
No, they don't.
They do. They are accredited.
I don't believe that.
The British Transport Police officers claim that the ticket inspectors were accredited and could legally demand Alex's details is simply incorrect. Ticket inspectors are not law enforcement. They operate under the railway bylaws, which only allow them to request a name, an address where there is a reasonable belief that someone has deliberately attempted to avoid paying. That is far removed from Alex's situation. What makes this even more concerning is the officer's unquestioning confidence. Instead of verifying the actual extent of the inspector's powers, she accepts their assertions at face value and uses them to pressure Alex. That is not supporting a partner agency. It is effectively outsourcing professional judgment to individuals who do not possess police authority. It is careless, it is improper, and it clearly demonstrates how a lack of understanding can escalate a straightforward civil matter into an unnecessary and potentially unlawful arrest scenario.
Because that will then be used in the court of law.
Right, at the moment, I do have a necessity because you're not failing to provide your details.
I will not provide my details
But,
until I'm arrested.
yeah, why would I want to arrest you?
Well, I don't want you to arrest me, but
Yeah,
I don't
want to arrest
nobody
you and
has
take
any
you to custody.
Yeah,
And
I really
you've
don't
got
want
a
that
meeting
either.
to get
I
to.
really don't want
I've
that.
still got things to do today,
I'm
obviously.
not going to be pressured into giving people my details. I have a right not to have the right to privacy. I will not give people my details and the pressuring me to do that. I don't believe you have a right to take my details until you arrest me. If you arrest me, if there is a basis for you to arrest me, and you arrest me, and you tell me why I'm being arrested, I will of course comply, and I will of course give my details. That's
You
just
haven't
normal.
got the ticket.
I
You
paid for
have
a ticket,
yeah, but
and I
that's
can
just a
print that
reference
ticket
number.
just over there.
Yeah, but you should have
I can
printed the ticket before you travel.
And you're going to arrest me for that.
I am going to arrest you for failing to provide a valid ticket to travel, okay?
You're going to
So
arrest me for
my
failing
necessity
to-
is
Sorry, to-
uh,
for
my
failing
necessity
to-
for
failing to
provide a valid
to
ticket for
Okay.
travel, which you don't have on your person. You have a reference number, so I will arrest you for the offence.
And you won't let me print that to show you that I
No,
have a ticket.
because you've already passed the point where you could have printed the
So
ticket
you won't
off.
allow me to print the ticket.
Well, obviously, when I've finished dealing with you, then yeah, you can go and print the ticket off.
Thank you
That's
very
fine.
much.
Okay. Do you want to come to our office and we'll speak out the way?
Yeah.
And we'll take it from there.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to follow this way? Thank you.
The decision to arrest Alex in this situation is astonishing. The officer acknowledges that he has already paid for the ticket and could print it on the spot, yet still claims it is invalid because it was not printed prior to travel. The entire purpose of checking tickets is to confirm payment, and Alex could have demonstrated that within seconds. Instead, compliance is effectively penalized while rigidity is rewarded, turning a straightforward misunderstanding into an unnecessary and potentially unlawful arrest. Alex's follow-up only highlights how unreasonable the situation became. Officers proceeded through the full process of arrest, interview, and de-arrest, only to conclude by doing exactly what Alex had suggested from the outset, escorting him to the machine to print his ticket. It underscores a clear lack of common sense and proportionality in how British Transport Police handled the matter. Rather than applying discretion and logic, the response defaulted to heavy-handed enforcement. The fact that Alex had to be arrested before being allowed to prove he had paid demonstrates how procedure-driven policing, without reason, can undermine the very notion of justice. These comments also clarify the legal position with precision. As Ryan explains, purchasing a ticket is a legal requirement, as traveling without permission would be unlawful, whereas printing the ticket is merely a bylaw condition. That distinction is critical. Failing to print a ticket does not automatically constitute fare evasion, it simply allows the company to consider prosecution if intent to defraud can be established. In Alex's case, he had already paid, and was able to provide proof of purchase, meaning there was no legitimate basis for a criminal offense, only a procedural requirement left unmet. The fact that no prosecution followed further reinforces how weak the original grounds were. Alex's own response brings everything into focus. He remained on solid ground throughout. He knew he had